Nocturnal Redditors, what are your favorite things about the night? I can do whatever I want without anyone interrupting me. I wish I lived alone in the middle of nowhere so whatever ruckus I make wouldn't bother anyone. I have more energy at night than at daytime. Yup, I also get a rush of energy at night, and I'm always tired during the day. I hate it. All modern life was built around the day. In my area night shifts aren't a thing. Hell. I'm like this too. It's called the SPD and the only thing wrong with it is it's not proper social behavior. The theory is it's evolutionarily advantageous to have people comfortably awake at night, so there's always someone keeping watch. I've also seen this rolled into the grandmother hypothesis that shows having a grandmother around past reproductive age, unusual in animals, is advantageous because it takes some of the burden off the parents, so they can have more kids. That's, in theory, why people start waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning as they get older. So when people ask me why I stay up late, I say I'm protecting the family from wolves. You're welcome. It's so quiet and peaceful. It feels like during the day the world is so busy and chaotic. At night it's all zen. This is why I want a house. My neighbors in the apartment complex are so damn loud. On one side is a Twitch streamer and she's screaming at her games until 4 or 5 AM most days. Above me is a couple that works opposite shifts, so there's always someone awake listening to music, vacuuming, doing the dishes, or moving furniture around I guess, in the middle of the night. If I leave my bedroom window open for some cool air, I'll probably end up hearing the couple across the way fighting in their bedroom, which then makes other people's dogs start barking. I really miss being able to stay up a bit late to get some peace and quiet. Now I gotta turn on all the fans and a white noise machine to drown everything else out enough to sleep. You should run a Twitch stream from your apartment that is just your neighbor yelling at her game. I guarantee profits. By the way guys, if you are enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It will help us out quite a bit, and if you don't enjoy the videos in the future anymore, you can always unsubscribe. Let's get back to the video. No expectations. Daytime feels like I'm expected to do productive life things. Nighttime, all I have to do is be quiet and no one expects anything else from me. I can knit or read for hours and not feel like I'm wasting the day. I think I was always a night person vs a morning person. But it only got to very much be the case after I started working in high stress jobs with long hours, where despite being exhausted, I would still stay up for a few more hours into the night than I should have, just to watch TV or eat or clean or anything. It was my way of carving out at least a few hours of my day that were entirely mine to control and to do what I wanted to do, even if I knew it would make me miserable in the morning. I also know for a lot of people the gym can be that period too, and even though I was obviously under no obligation to go to the gym and always felt better after, it never really felt like me time as much as something I still felt like I had to do to stay in shape. The general lack of people. I work third shift, and unlike my day walking cohorts, I can listen to a podcast and do paperwork in relative peace because there's a solid 3 hours in the middle of the night where I'm left the hell alone. Mine. I work 1932-0800 with a small crew and can pop in earbuds or whatever. Then on days off, I could be found running on one of the random country roads around my house at 2 AM, but it's rare anyone is out there. I usually just run in the moonlight and only turn on my headlamp if a car is coming. I like my solitude. The pandemic has been just fine on me. I feel like people like you explain half of the paranormal / creepy stories you read on r/askreddit. I was driving in the middle of the night out in the country and on a straight stretch with nothing in front of me, suddenly this light comes on ahead of me. It's not a car light because it has this strange movement to it, and it's just a single light. It's 2 AM, so there's really no reason anyone would be out here. I actually slow down and come to a stop since its sudden appearance makes me a bit suspicious, especially out in the country. It's pitch black out except for this strangely moving light. And now that I'm stopped, I notice that the light is continuing to move towards me. Then when the light is 100 yards away, it stops moving. It stays mostly still for a while. It's probably like 60 seconds that I stay like that, and the light in the time moves very little. I've left my car running, of course, and now I rev the engine a bit to try and see how it reacts. The light goes out suddenly. This makes me even more nervous. I decide to quickly turn the car around and find another way past. As I'm driving away from the spot, I see the light reappear in my rear view mirror. It's making that same strange movement again. Does anyone else feel anxious that they need to be doing something productive while the sun is out? At night I feel relaxed. Office is closed. Everyone is asleep. No one is going to bug me, and there's nothing I can do about particular problems, even if I wanted to, so no one is going to mind if I'm just here chilling out doing nothing, right? Only time I've really been able to get work done since the pandemic started is at night. My parents have a dog that barks a lot, and even with cheap, noise-cancelling headphones, I can still hear him. Before COVID, I could at least go somewhere quieter to study. When he and my parents are asleep, I know he won't be barking. Of course, I can't do that if I need to be in a call, so I either need to mute my mic and get flack for not participating much, or let everyone hear him bark constantly. Night air has a different smell, especially in spring. Flowers, rain, wet earth, all smell different at night to me. Night summer air, when it's extremely still and warm, is forever unmatched. I feel the same about night winter air, particularly when it's snowing. Everything is calm and quiet, with a slight glow from lights being reflected between houses and clouds, and the soft sound of snowflakes hitting the ground. I used to stand at my bathroom window for ages in the middle of the night, leaning on the windowsill and breathing in the crisp cold air that just smells like snow. If you know, you know. Watching the snow fall, with the occasional snowflake making its way through the screen to hit my face. Such a sense of peace. It slows down my brain and I can stop thinking for a while, just enjoy the silence and totally relax. Best way to wind down for a good sleep, nothing can match it. I miss that. My prime functioning time is around 10 PM to 5 AM. I really enjoy the night sky and lack of people in places that are typically crowded. The streets are quiet, the air is still, and I feel so awake. I wish more of the world operated in the night. I feel you. I intentionally switched my retail shift from mornings to evenings because the early hours were practically killing me. Everyone else prefers the morning, but I roll in during the afternoon and clock out deep into the night. Works just fine for me. I wish more of the world operated in the night. Yeah, I wish everything was open at night, same as day, but with most people not up and out. I have to disagree. The fact that most of the world operates less at night is the primary reason I love the night. If all the pressures and expectations that weigh me down during the day were extended to all the night hours too, I think it would be a lot tougher to make it through. Same. I don't wish more of the world operated at night because, well, it would kill the whole serenity/less sensory stimulus thing we nocturnal animals exclusively own. You would love living in Las Vegas. A lot of stuff is open 24/7. Grocery shops, restaurants/fast food, entertainment. No traffic means getting to the strip only takes 20 minutes. It's a great place for night owls. The night is sacred. The universe allows us a small look into the holy void. The moon, who mercifully slowed our planet's rotation, continues her vigil over us. The deep things of the night sing their songs, while the meaningless screeching of a pointless society halts, if only for a few hours. What's not to like? This. There's nothing that feels quite as dreadful as the rise of that meaningless screeching a few hours before sunrise. Noise pollution, light pollution, sound pollution. We take up so much space despite sharing it with thousands of animals and other critters. At least at night the light pollution, albeit annoying and destructive to the environment, is the least of our worries. That roar of traffic seems inescapable, like some up collective tinnitus. That holy void is the one peaceful break we get in most towns and cities. There's a bridge like 5 miles from my apartment that serves as a road and railroad bridge, and it just growls 24/7. I can't even describe that sound well enough. It's like a distant thunder that never stops. Never. It's not even the sound of traffic, it's just white noise from all the wheels and train cars moving over the bridge. It's never really quiet on that side of the house. Sometimes I can just chill with no one there to bother me. I end up feeling like one of those Luffy characters. It makes me feel whole in a strange way. It's just the right temperature, the shining moon barely illuminating the beautiful view of my surrounding area, my pets contentedly sleeping, while I do something like play a relaxing game, read, sketch, watch a nice show, or just generally chill. And then of course, there is the feeling of being perfectly content. Around this time I consider everything I have, and how lucky I'm to have everything I do, and try to remember not to take anything for granted, and savor every moment. Then, I fall into sleep. Edit. Wow, I read over this, and I didn't know I felt this strongly about night lol. Weirdly poetic to me. I've worked nights for years. Nothing is more exhilarating going for a cruise when I'm off under a full moon. It makes me feel sneaky, like a bandit, or an old-timey outlaw on the lam. It adds a cinematic element to mischievous tiptoeing abouts, even if there's no one else in my domicile to disturb with my witching hour antics. If I'm up particularly late, as is the case tonight, I particularly enjoy working on art in my studio. Low music humming, objects lightly rustling as my little fingers explore my many glass jars and wooden boxes filled with my myriad precious objects, bones, scraps of metal, wood, and other natural or man-made debris that I acquire throughout the day, squirreled away like pilfered goods in my pockets to be emptied and catalogued for future use. In punctuating the silence, these sounds, otherwise gone unnoticed amidst the chaos of day, remind me that I'm a living being, that my movements have an impact. This reminder feels important, although I'm sure I can properly articulate why. So, I listen. My brain is always chit-chattering to itself throughout the day. Maybe it's the ADHD, maybe I'm just too curious for a world as large and with as much access to information as this particular chapter in history provides, and all of this stimulus and movement and all of the bright sounds, the blaring of horns, the mosaic of overlapping conversations outside my window, bottles and cans hitting pavement, tires bring as they stop at the intersection keep me from holding or thought long enough to make it meaningful. At night, I follow a singular sound, the staccato thud of my beating heart, my steady breath, the susurrus of the wind as it winds its way between the buildings, gently passed through by distant cars, cascading downwards and bounding upwards, touching without touching every object and living thing, including the acquaintance of my windows. It's almost as though, at night, the world becomes more considerate, all things are made soft. The light dimmed, noise is hushed, activity muted. I like it here, where it is steady and gentle, and my thoughts collect either to meander, winding as they please into quiet contemplation, or to find their center, where I can sit down and process a task at length without interruption. When the world goes to sleep, it also opens. To nocturnal animals. To surreptitious meetings. To solitary walks. To meditation. To mischief. To both liberation and dedication of thought. The beat beats. And beats. And beats. And beats. Steady and gentle into the morning. During the early morning, I mean 2 AM to 4 AM, nobody expects you to do anything other than sleep. The normal thing is that if you have something to do, it is done during the day, so the early morning is completely yours to do whatever you want. But if you want something a little more romantic, in my case I live in a big city, quite noisy, but a little over a year ago I started renting this house with a balcony, from which you can see a large part of the city, and a few months ago I realized that sometimes around 3 in the morning the city goes completely silent for a few minutes, no cars, dogs, cats, people or any type of sound other than that of the wind. And it is beautiful. I would have to say without a doubt, it would have to be the solitude of it all, and just being alone to do pretty much what you would like, and not be judged for it. For me, the night just goes by faster when you are not at work, At first it used to freak me out, but I have come to enjoy it. There is just something about walking down the street outside to get a pack of smokes that is just so peaceful, to be able to put things in perspective and being able to enjoy that moment and realize isn't so bad and things are going to be alright for the most part, because there will be plenty more instances of that moment to come. Nocturnal due to insomnia, having the place to yourself is my favorite. I used to drive out to remote places in Scotland in the middle of the night. I ended up on first name terms with the local police, as they would stop me and ask what I was doing, which developed into them just giving me a wave, a head nod, or even a bit of a chat while I was waiting on the sun coming up over Sunlock. Oddly, walking around the city center I live in now during lockdown reminded me of this, and also made me release no one lives here, it's all students, Airbnb in the center. The other aspect was the food. Bakeries that open at 4 AM to get rolls etc. that are straight out the oven. Supermarkets are normally full stocked. The 24 hours Tesco and Asda were headache free in the middle of the night. Just being alone with just myself and my mind. Most people around me are asleep, and I kind of live with a lot of people, so being up at night all alone and not being disturbed is amazing. I can cry for a couple hours if I want. Just be up on my phone looking at talk to my PPL in different time zones. Just get super stoned trying to sleep. Stress about my life during the night, so I don't gotta do during the day. Haha JK. I have always been in awe of almost complete silence, other than say animals / bad noises or the wind. It's just very nice to observe the world as it would be say without too much human activity. I guess rural areas at night / evening feel like the olden times. I have exceptional night vision. I'm almost 50 and still have exceptional night vision. I also have a strong spatial awareness. This gives me the ability to see my surroundings in my mind's eye even in total darkness, as long as I'm familiar with the environment. The eye is a muscle, and like all muscles, if you don't use it, you lose it, so knowing this I'm drawn to the night. I love everything about it. I want to practice seeing at night, so I don't stop being able to see at night. It's quiet, it's comforting to know I will be aware of something before that something is aware of me, and I get to be alone whenever I like, because everyone else has to be awake during the daylight hours. I'm blessed. I don't feel like I'm on stage. I'm a naturally very private person, and at night I don't have to put on pleasantries if someone stops by or if we have plans with anyone. I don't have to worry about work. I can just spend time with my wife and son and be content to be around them. It's also time where I can be creative and brainstorm ideas, work on videos, write, or just play a video game in peace. It's built in solitude, insulated from the loud and dramatic of the daytime world. I need that. 4 AM. There's something so nice about the stretch of time from, like, 3:30 to 4:45 in the morning. Hardly anybody else is awake, it's just you and the quiet. I go on a lot of walks around that time because it's such a peaceful time. That place right before the sun starts to properly rise too, where the sky is just barely starting to get the faintest hints of light touching it. I love that. The sound of the frogs in the pond and the owls calling to each other in the trees. The world just seems so much more still at night. I work an outdoor job during the day and the sun often overwhelms me. But at night it's so cool and dark and peaceful. In the winter, the night will bring northern lights and stars and the moon. It's one of nature's best wonders. And the nights when it snows, there's a smell to the air that's so crisp and clean. There's comfort in it. You can easily be yourself with as much privacy as you want. Everybody is asleep and the calmness is the best thing about it. No loud traffic, less people screaming, and dogs barking. It's as if I crave calm. It's like stop everything you're doing, take a breath, and listen. No sound, not even a butterfly wings flapping, just calmness. It's in those moments that you're comfortable. Also at night it's just you and the darkness. It feels as if you can finally relax and lose yourself in it and not care. The quiet isn't as quiet as you'd imagine. All the nocturnal creatures make their own noises, and even in a city the sounds are different. the heat of the summer is far easier to bear. When I worked nights, there were years that I didn't have to deal with the worst of the heat waves that went on during that time, and it was glorious, and it was easier to get walks in during the summer because it was cooler outside. One perk in a larger area, not possible where I live now, going grocery shopping or shopping at places like Walmart or Target in the middle of the night was a dream. Far fewer people in the store, and a lot of stuff was freshly stocked. Far less traffic on the roads. I mean, there are drawbacks as well. Those nighttime walks aren't exactly safe, depending on where you are, for example, but there are a lot of bonuses to being awake during the night. The best thing about nights is that you mostly have them all for yourself. There are less to no people bothering you, no cars, no phone calls, emails or messages. All the people that could want something from you are asleep, and even if you wanted to, you just can't do certain tasks until the morning, which in turn means you don't have to worry about them until sunrise. So that leaves you with a few hours to spend for yourself. I really enjoy nights, especially weeknights when most people are asleep. As a teen, I would regularly spend my summer holidays sleeping until 8 PM and then be awake the whole night. It was heaven. I'd avoid the icky hot summer days and would go hiking for hours in the cool night air. Sometimes I'd bring some food with me and would make a picnic on a random grass field out in the countryside at 2 to 3 AM. I can't do that anymore because I live in the city now and also have a 9 to 5 job and a small child, but I still love to go out for a short walk in the dead of night whenever I can. I live in Alabama. Night brings cool air. Also, I have a high sensitivity to light, so during the day I have to wear sunglasses anytime I go outside or I can't see a thing. So DAYTIME equals hot as hell and bright. Night is just cool air and the ability to see without issue. Plus there's less people. I love running errands at night and in the wee hours of the morning. It's the best time to go to Walmart. No lines, no crowds, no maskless Karens standing in front of the butter for 20 minutes, no whining kids or screaming toddlers, nothing but ambient store noise and the occasional whir of a floorboarder in the distance. What bliss. The only downside is the lack of safety. I'm biologically female, so I'm more likely to be targeted, especially at night. When I worked the night shift in Texas, my favorite thing was how good it felt to be outside at night. I would sit on my apartment balcony on my days off in the summer, and it was perfection. I love being outside, but Texas summers are brutal. I live in Colorado now, and find the evenings to be too cold most of the year to really enjoy spending any time outside at night outside of July and August. The way the air feels on summer nights back home is one of the only reasons I miss Texas. The other is Whataburger and Carlos Springs is getting one soon. The quiet, the lack of people, the wildlife is more active. There are possums, Australian possums, living in our roof, and at night they come out and sit on the veranda railings. I love leaving the curtains open so I can watch them play. They've all got names, they've got their own personalities and quirks. There's a family of wombats living in a burrow under the garden shed, and a couple of wallabies that visit at night. We also get visits from flying foxes, owls, tawny frogmoths. I can't decide if you live in Australia or Narnia. Possums are pretty common in even urban areas. I live 4 kilometers from the CBD in Melbourne and there are possums everywhere. They all over the place and the noise they make is horrendous, but they're cute. If you live near a nature reserve, and there are plenty around in suburban areas, what the op described isn't uncommon. Also live close to Melbourne CBD and can confirm the possums need right off with eating all my plants and everywhere though. This is the end of the video. Thank you guys for staying with me till the end. If you enjoyed watching this, you might as well watch these too.